Hey everybody, it's your girl Bunny. To all of my returning subscribers, hey, how you doing? And for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Kick your feet up, subscribe to this family-friendly channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss any posts. Also follow me on Instagram at the same profile name so you don't miss the sneak peeks of what's coming up next. In this video, we have Belle Collective Season 1, Episode 5, entitled No Yams. I give a full episode recap with photos offset to the side, and then I give my review at the end. No need to dig around. I have all of the minute marks in the comments. It's all coming up next. We pick up right where we left off from the last episode with Kaylin being very rude to Marie, and Marie telling her right back, "I'm not a slave. You don't tell me to come here." Dorothy steps in and says, "Hey, I understand you're upset, Marie. I understand that what's going on, we must rise above everything that's going on." And Marie's like, "Yeah, but, for her to tell me I'm a nobody." And she's like, "I get it, but we just need to, everybody just needs to just kind of settle down." And Kaylin says, "Marie, I'm very sorry, but Marie isn't having it." And at this point, Kaylin leaves the event and is escorted by Antoinette. Lateshia just wants to move forward and control the brunch again because it's getting out of hand and she wants to refocus her audience. So Lateshia says, "I am here just to make an announcement about Ferris Street." And she gives more specifics about it being a 2-story building and how she wants to do research about it and she wants to buy the property. Unfortunately, there are a lot of parameters around it, and every time she researched it, she came up on Dorothy's name. And she is the liaison between the city and the community. So upstairs, she wants to have a nice venue, and below a resource center to where entrepreneurs can host workshops, can give events and so forth, kind of like the pillar of Ferris Street where everybody can connect. And she requests to please go to councilman meetings, link up with me so we can take control back of Ferris Street and provide a legacy. And Antoinette says in her production clip that she's very happy to finally hear her big announcement about Ferris Street, and she's behind her 100%. Even Marie is super excited and proud of her friend Lateshia's vision. Lateshia does receive a standing ovation and thanks everyone for attending the brunch event. And she's happy that she finally was able to share her vision with everyone at the brunch. Latrice meets with her publicist, Melanie, and they both agree that launching this Essentials hair care line is more difficult than they thought. Linking hair care products along with the Virgin Hair Company and also trying to launch in a major retail store is easier said than done. Cliff stops by to ask Latrice, has she heard from her brother? And Latrice is like, I've called and texted him over and over again, but I haven't got a response. And Cliff is just like, well, it's probably because of the way you treat his girlfriend, but, she's not his girlfriend anymore. They're married now. And Latrice is clearly hurt that she didn't know anything about her brother being married by her facial expressions. Latrice has 2 brothers, but the one that they're speaking of specifically is named Derek. She considered both of her brothers like dads. 2 of her brothers were killed, so she thought that she would know about a wedding. And Derek left at an early age, because he was incarcerated when she was about 9 years old. And he's just now getting out of jail. Latrice is hoping to speak with Derek so they can hash out why he's not talking to her. Lateshia's husband, Glen, comes home after 28 days of being away at work, and Joshua is so happy to see his dad. Glen expresses that every time he comes home, it feels like Christmas. She can't wait to sit Glen down to tell him about the updates and everything that she's learned about Ferris Street. She tells him that I'm just so excited. I even got to speak with the councilman. I even got to go to the location. All of the dreams and all of the things that I talked about concerning Ferris Street and getting everybody together as a collective is actually happening. And I'm just so excited about that. But now I have to express to you that with these ongoing responsibilities and as I learn more about these endeavors, I won't be able to be with you hand and foot. I can't shut down every time that you come home and cater to you like I used to. She went from being a housewife to a businesswoman, and she says that she wants to make sure that she keeps everybody comfortable, but she wants him to understand that she won't be able to wait on him hand and foot like in the past. Antoinette and Kaylin, they meet up at her construction site, and Antoinette reconfirms that she wasn't being attacked. It's just that Black women were expressing their experiences, and everything that they've experienced is part of America. Whether she's done anything personally to anybody that's dealing with any racism or not, and she has to accept that that's just the reality of things. It was unfortunate that she felt uncomfortable, but they were sharing their experiences being Black in America. Antoinette also wants everyone to be comfortable at her future sip and see, where everybody can sip and see her new place of business. And she hopes that everything comes together in 4 weeks. So it's going to be a tight squeeze in order for this event to be pulled off. Latisha's at home. She's making some business calls. And as she's making her business calls pertaining to Ferris Street, Glen seems really agitated that there's no food in the house. He's looking in the refrigerator. He's looking in the cabinets. He seems really frustrated, like, man, where is the food at? What's going on? And he even pops into the room that she's working in, looking at her as she's making a business call, and he storms out of the room. She then continues on with her calls, and as she goes on to finish a call, he starts the vacuum like a toddler demanding attention. She gets off of the phone and says, what's going on? You know that I'm making business calls. What is it? What's happening? He says, there's nothing to eat in the house, and I'm just coming home from work, and I need you to be in the kitchen, and there's no food in there. And she's like, well, don't you understand that I'm making these calls and everything that I'm doing is for us? And he's like, everything you doing is for us. I keep hearing us, but it seems like it's all about you. And she can't understand why he can't make himself useful and find some food on his own just so she can handle her business calls. And she doesn't think that it's fair that after 17 plus years of being in a relationship and waiting on him hand and foot and being that housewife, that now she's finally pursuing something of her dreams and everything's coming together, and he can't spare some time for her to have some time alone to handle some business calls. He says there's no yams in the kitchen, and since there's no yams in the kitchen, there's not anything cooking. I think we need to develop a contract that you can balance business and also taking care of me, because I'm the king of the household. And of course, she is absolutely floored by what she's saying, and she's like, I just don't understand. You mean to tell me you want me to develop some type of contract? If we do develop any type of contract, it's us renewing our vows, because you still haven't given me the update about that contract. You got to be kidding me. Me staying at home taking care of our son while you were out and you were doing everything that you needed to do for work, and I never questioned you about everything, all of the infidelities in the past and us working on relationship, and you want me to develop a contract when it comes to business and taking care of you? She's like, oh, okay, whatever. And he's like, well, you got 14 days to think about how you're going to do the contract. In the meantime, I need something cooking. And she just walks off because she just can't believe what she's hearing. Back at the home of Latrice and Cliff, they have prepared a memory event to plant 2 trees to remember her 2 brothers that were killed. And they've gotten the trees to plant for later on. Cliff has gotten the food. He's made sure that the family is okay and everybody's sitting down. And everyone is dressed in white to remember life and not death. She tells the family, thank you all for coming. We're going to have food. We're going to plant the trees. And then we're going to let the night flow. Even Antoinette and Melanie arrive, showing their support. Latrice gathers everybody as they begin to plant the trees. She talks about her memories of her brothers growing up, what she could remember. Family members start to talk about what they remember as well. But then we see Derek kind of walk off. It's like he's trying to hold back emotion, and it's just too much. The family tries to get him to say, come back. It's okay. We're remembering them. Say some words, but he's just too choked up to talk about it. Latrice decides that too much of the day has already passed, and it's very important that she sits down with her brother Derek to see why he's not returning the phone calls. After they have a brief conversation, the distance is because Derek feels she doesn't like his current girlfriend, but she still likes his baby's mom. But he wants to tell her that, hey, that's the mother of my child, but I'm not with her anymore. So you have to have an understanding of who I'm with now. That's who I choose. And Latrice says, well, you know, it's not that I just don't like her, but it's just some of her ways that I don't like. After they have even more conversation, Latrice says to her production clip that it doesn't make any sense to just keep on with whatever is causing him any type of grief. She just wants things back to the way that they were between her and her brother, because life is too short, and she doesn't want the way she feels about his current girlfriend to stop them to having conversations and anything to drive a wedge between the two. She thought that it was just too petty and just so small to just have the distance based upon who he's dating or who he's with. She also mentions that, man, it hurt me thinking that you got married and that I missed such a big moment in your life. And he says, if I got married, you would know. If I was with somebody and it got that serious, you would know. I would not keep you out of that. But just know I'm with who I'm with, and you just got to respect that. They hug, they share some tears, and they vow to just get to know one another and make sure that the distance and making sure that they call one another as much as they can, because they've already lost too much in their family. And that is the end of the episode. Well, you guys, we are seeing examples of what I spoke of at the beginning of this series, that we would start to see examples of how the roles are changing when it comes to Western society, the male roles, quote unquote, the gender roles of taking care of a household. We see the shifts, especially in the new millennium, of women taking control of their careers and also postponing having children, because more women are deciding to take their career into their hands and consider family second. So this series is really a good display of what we are watching. And the men, unfortunately, having their feathers ruffled just a little bit when they see the change in their own household. Women bringing in a certain amount of money, maybe not doing the same role that they had before, and it creating some static. Of course, it's easy to say, I support you, but emotionally, they're somewhere else. We see in literally every household with Cliff, with Glen, with Marie's husband, that they're supportive up to a certain extent, and it comes off as jealousy. It comes off as regret, because some of the other women also express, especially Marie, that her husband did have an interest in investing in the company, but he passed on it. Also, Latrice's husband, Cliff, he didn't believe in her vision at all. And now that the company is becoming prosperous, he wants to invest. So there's anger with Latrice, as well as sadness, because she was always confused as why her husband wasn't supportive of her from the beginning. So we're seeing a lot of the gender roles / socioeconomic and systemic racism cycles play into what's happening in their lives. More African American women going to higher levels of learning, while men, maybe due to incarceration and those numbers increasing, especially the 80s era. I did have that review. Make sure that you look at that, where I give all of the stats and examples of what created this shift. Now, we see this shift across the board when it comes to women, but more specifically African American women. Those numbers are even higher when it comes to developing their own businesses, becoming business women, etc. Let me know what you feel about that. This episode was pretty straight to the point. Nothing big happened. We just saw good examples of how men are starting to see how these roles are changing and careers changing when it comes to income and raising families. Let me know what you think. There's way more detail. If you notice, this video is shorter than the other videos, because this video was pretty much to the point. Really not much happened in this episode, but in the previous episode in the reviews, I give a lot of detail about how this show is a good show when it comes to looking at examples of how roles and careers are changing, women in family, women in business, especially African American women, and that shift, those things happening in our society varieties, but make sure you check out those previous reviews to get more details. Let me know what you think, and in the meantime, stay tuned for tonight. It is Queen Sugar's, the debut of season 5. It comes on tonight, 7 o'clock Central. Make sure that you look at the episode recap and my review. If not, come back to playlist a different day and check me out then. In the meantime, take care of one another. And don't forget to take care of yourself. I love you guys. Until next time, bye.